Every animal in the shelter has its own story, but some have really sad pasts. This is the story of Everett, a gentle old cat with a kind heart. For some reason, nobody wanted to adopt him. Whenever someone came to the shelter, they found excuses to leave him behind. As days turned into weeks, Everett felt lonely and sad, losing hope of finding a loving home. But Everett's story didn't always start in the shelter. Years ago, when he was just a playful 2-year-old, he lived with a couple who adored him. They gave him a warm room, plenty of food, and endless hugs. Those were the best days of his life, filled with happiness. Every day, the couple fed Everett and showered him with love. He felt like the most special cat in the world. But as time passed, their affection began to fade. They paid less attention to him, and loneliness crept in. Then one day, they brought home a lively new kitten. The couple couldn't get enough of the kitten's energy and playful spirit. Suddenly, all the love that used to be for Everett was now given to the new arrival. Everett found it hard to cope with this change. He had been their favorite, and now he felt forgotten. The kitten turned his happy life upside down, making him yearn for the affection he once enjoyed. The situation became tense. Everett, feeling pushed aside, didn't know how to react. The new kitten was full of energy and always wanting attention, which made things difficult. The two cats often clashed, and instead of helping them get along, the couple grew frustrated. They didn't realize that Everett needed time to adjust to this new life. Impatient with the situation, they made a heart-wrenching decision. They took Everett back to the shelter saying, "This cat has become troublesome, so we decided to bring him in." It was painful for Everett to understand that some people didn't know what unconditional love truly meant. When he arrived at the shelter, the staff felt worried. They knew how challenging it could be to adopt out an older cat like Everett, but they hoped he would find a loving home. From the moment they met him, they saw that he was a sweet and gentle cat. Even after all the sadness he had faced, he showed no signs of anger. Instead, he was calm and friendly, mingling well with the other cats, and always looking out for them, showing his caring nature. As the staff learned more about Everett, they felt a deep connection with him. They decided to name him after the gentle soul they could see shining in his eyes. To help him find a home, they shared his story on the shelter's website, hoping someone would open their heart to this sweet cat. This lovely cat came here a few days ago because his owners didn't want him anymore. I have never seen a cat so obedient and loving. Even though he is older, he is gentle and deserves a good home. Please help us give him the love he needs more than ever, they wrote. Many people were touched by Everett's story, and they visited the shelter. But sadly, most of them chose younger cats instead. Some families thought Everett was adorable, but felt unsure about adopting an older cat. Others said they lived in noisy homes or had small children, which made them think it wouldn't be fair to bring Everett into their lives. Days turned into weeks, and despite the staff's best efforts to promote Everett on social media, his situation remained unchanged. Then, one day, a couple walked into the shelter. When they spotted Everett, their eyes lit up with love. They spent over an hour with him, the longest any visitor had ever stayed. The staff felt hopeful that this time, Everett might finally find a forever home. But when the couple stepped aside to talk privately, no one knew what they were discussing. Eventually, they returned and told the staff they had decided to adopt a different cat. Once again, Everett was left behind. As the days went on, the sparkle in Everett's eyes began to fade. He stopped playing and spent his time alone in a corner of the shelter, filled with sadness and longing. Each day, he grew more withdrawn. He even stopped eating for a week, believing he would never feel the warm hugs and gentle kisses he once had in his happy home. The shelter staff cared for him, hoping that someone kind-hearted would come to rescue him from his loneliness. They knew Everett deserved love and friendship. Then one day, Dr. Tevin, a kind veterinarian who often visited the shelter, brought his wife with him. They had recently lost their beloved cat and were ready to adopt again. When they saw Everett, they felt an instant bond. He was exactly what they needed, a gentle and cuddly cat who could bring joy back into their lives. At last, it seemed that Everett's luck was about to change. Dr. Tevin noticed the tag around Everett's neck that read, "Tender Soul," and it couldn't have been more perfect. He asked the staff to open Everett's cage, but they hesitated, worried that he might not react well after everything he had been through. However, when Dr. Tevin gently called out, "Everett, come here," something magical happened. Everett stood up and walked toward him, sensing that kindness was in the air. Dr. Tevin scooped him up in a warm hug, and at that moment, Everett felt the love he had missed for so long. It was as if all the affection he had lost came rushing back. Suddenly, Everett began to change. He ran around the shelter, meowing happily, bursting with energy and excitement. The staff watched in amazement as he polished off a big bowl of food, tears of joy streaming down their faces. Dr. Tevin then told the staff he wanted to take Everett home for a trial period. If everything went well, they would officially adopt him. Thankfully, Everett quickly adjusted to his new, loving surroundings. In his new home, Everett wasn't just a pet, he became a beacon of hope. Every day, he brought joy to everyone who walked into the veterinary center. His gentle spirit seemed to heal the animals in pain and calm the people who were anxious about their own pet's health. A few months after Everett settled in, someone brought a frightened little kitten to the front door of the veterinary center, dropped off in a box. The kitten trembled in fear, unsure of what would happen next. But Everett, with his warm and nurturing spirit, immediately sensed the kitten's distress. He cuddled up next to the scared little creature, comforting it until it was ready for the vet's examination. Everett even spent hours curled up with the kitten in its cage, providing a sense of safety and calm. Dr. Tevin often remarked, "I'm so glad we adopted him. He changed our lives." Everett brought not only joy to their home, but also filled the veterinary center with love and warmth. He comforted animals and their owners during tough times, becoming an essential part of their lives. In his new home, Everett was more than just a pet. He became a bright light of hope. Every day, he filled the veterinary center with joy, making everyone who walked through the door feel welcomed. His gentle spirit seemed to heal hurting animals and calm worried owners anxious about their pet's health. Dr. Tevin knew that Everett was getting older, and he thought about the day he would have to say goodbye to his beloved cat. But for now, Everett was enjoying the happy life he always deserved. He found love and joy again, showing that even older cats can get a second chance. Each day, Everett reminded everyone that love has no age, and that every soul, no matter how gentle, deserves to shine. So, that's all for today. What are your thoughts about this story? Tell us in the comments section below, and if you like this, make sure to like and subscribe. Your support means so much to us. Until then, take care and thanks for watching.